Ethan did not reply immediately. He placed the phone face down on the table, as if distance could reduce the weight of Lara's words. "I'm running out of time." The sentence echoed louder the longer he avoided it. It was vague enough to mean many things, and specific enough to terrify him. He tried to sleep. He couldn't. At some point near morning, he picked up the phone again and typed carefully. "What do you mean by that?" The reply didn't come. Minutes passed, then hours. By the time the sun rose, the message still hadn't been read. Lara watched the phone from across the room untouched. She had expected him to ask. She hadn't expected how much it would hurt when he did. The truth was simple, but saying it would rearrange everything. She had spent months learning how to live with uncertainty, how to smile through conversations while something unseen counted down quietly inside her. She had told herself she wouldn't make it anyone else's burden, especially not Ethan's. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. "Please don't disappear after saying that." She closed her eyes. Some doors once opened, do not close gently. They met 2 days later. A neutral place. Quiet. Public enough to keep emotions contained. A small park between office buildings where people passed without noticing each other. Ethan arrived early. He always did. Control had become his way of staying calm. He rehearsed questions in his head, none of which sounded right. When Lara appeared, she didn't sit immediately. She stood for a moment, looking at him, as if measuring something invisible. "You look tired," she said. "So do you," he replied. They sat. Silence settled, not awkward but heavy. "You asked why," she finally said. "I wasn't sure I wanted to answer. And now? Now I think you deserve honesty, even if it complicates things." His chest tightened at her choice of words. She looked at the ground as she spoke, not at him. "I'm sick," she said. "Not suddenly, not dramatically, just enough." Ethan waited for more. Specifics. Details. Something he could react to. But Lara stopped there. "How sick?" he asked quietly. She smiled faintly. "Enough that time feels different now." He wanted to reach for her hand. He didn't. "Why didn't you tell me?" The question escaped before he could stop it. She looked up then, eyes sharp. "Because we don't belong to each other anymore." That hurt more than he expected. "I didn't leave because I stopped loving you," she continued. "I left because I didn't know how to ask you to choose me when you were already choosing everything else." He felt the old argument pressing against his chest, familiar and unresolved. "I would have stayed," he said. "You think that now," she replied gently, "because you're remembering selectively." The honesty stung because it wasn't cruel. They sat in silence again. Then she said, "I didn't come back to disrupt your life. I came back to settle something unfinished." "What?" She hesitated. "Us." That night, Ethan didn't go home immediately. He walked. Past streets he didn't need to be on. Past decisions he had thought were settled. His girlfriend called. He didn't answer. He told himself it was temporary. He needed clarity before speaking. He needed to understand what Lara was asking, because she was asking something, even if she hadn't said it aloud. At home, he opened an old folder he hadn't touched in years. Photos, messages, fragments of a life paused rather than ended. One photo stopped him. Lara, asleep on his couch, holding a book she never finished reading. He remembered that night clearly. She had asked him something important. He had said, "Not now." He never asked what she wanted to say. The next message came just after midnight. "There's something else you should know," Lara wrote, "but I can't say it over text." He replied immediately, "When can we talk?" This time there was no delay, tomorrow. But after that, you'll have to decide whether knowing the truth is worth the cost. "What cost?" he typed. The reply took longer. "You won't be able to pretend anymore." Ethan stared at the screen. Somewhere between fear and longing, he realized something unsettling. Part of him had been waiting for this moment. Across the city, Lara lay awake, one hand resting on her chest, the other holding her phone. She whispered to herself, "I should have stayed silent." But it was too late. The truth was already moving.